The cave echoed with the slow drip of mineral-laced water from the jagged stalactites above. A thick scent of ozone and ash lingered in the humid air, swirling gently with the warm breath of two enormous beings curled around each other at the heart of the mountain's core. She was Serenith, Dragoness of the red fire clutch, her scales glinting with molten crimson hues, and he was Thalgren, her bonded mate, larger still and armored in black and silver. Together, they guarded one of the last sacred flame wells left in the realm of Eshthar. Their years had been long and peaceful. After countless battles during the rise of the Iron Kings, both dragons had settled deep into the earth to rest and protect what remained of their kind. No human dared venture this deep, nor did dwarves or elfkin. The cave was a sanctuary for their race, and a cradle for the future. Serenith's belly had grown heavy over the past few weeks, though not with eggs. Dragons did not usually bear live young. Yet this pregnancy defied all tradition, all known biology, and worse, it frightened her. Thalgren paced the far side of the chamber, his eyes constantly flicking back toward his mate. He had fought through 1,000 battles, broken the skulls of giants and burned fleets from the sky, but he was helpless here. Nothing in his ancestral memory prepared him for what now stirred within Serenith. They had found the relic on a ruined moonstone altar months ago, high in the jagged mountains where air was too thin for human lungs. It pulsed with an eerie violet light, humming like the growl of a storm behind clouds. Serenith, curious and prideful, had touched it before he could stop her. It vanished into her palm, burning an intricate sigil into her scales that faded before he could study it. That night, she dreamed of creatures not of this world, metallic, sleek, and deadly, with eyeless faces and teeth like razors. She had awoken screaming. Thalgren had believed it to be an echo, a psychic memory embedded in the stone. But Serenith had not stopped changing. Her fire became tainted, hissing with black smoke and sparks of green. Her scales shimmered with odd shades when light struck them wrong. And then the bulge in her belly began to grow. "You're in pain again," he rumbled, walking back to her side. "It kicks, but it's not like ours," she whispered. "It claws. It bites me from the inside. It dreams, and I feel it dreaming." He nuzzled her cheek gently, nostrils flaring. "We should call the moon shaman. She would see it and call it a curse. She would kill me." Thalgren's claws clenched against the basalt floor. He was the strongest of his kind, but even he could not defend Serenith from all their elders. The council had little tolerance for aberrations, and if this creature within her was what he feared, a being from another realm, another species, it would be seen as a threat. Parasite. That night, Serenith screamed. Her body convulsed in a way unnatural to any dragon. Wings spasmed, tail thrashing violently enough to crack obsidian columns. Thalgren roared, trying to hold her steady, his voice echoing up into the hollow caverns above. Black ichor spilled from her jaws, not flame, not blood, but something darker. And then, it emerged. The egg sac split not into yolk, but into membrane and sinew. The creature was slick, its form wrong, serpentine, limbed, eyeless, with a tail that ended in a curved blade. It hissed as it fell onto the stone, steaming with heat. It looked toward Thalgren with a face that held no emotion, no soul. Yet in it was intelligence. Serenith collapsed, breath shallow. Thalgren didn't kill the thing. Something in its posture stilled him. Not submission, not threat, it was recognition. It knew him. The creature coiled like a dragonling, but moved like no dragon. Its exoskeleton shimmered like onyx, with ridged segments that flexed like muscle. It smelled of fire and void. Serenith stirred and lifted her head weakly. "It speaks to me, in thoughts." "What is it?" I don't know, but it calls me mother. Over the next days, the creature grew rapidly. It did not eat flesh nor stone nor drink water. Instead, it drank heat, siphoning the energy of the flame well as though it were feeding on sunlight. Its body adapted, changing subtly each day, molding to its surroundings. Wings formed, skeletal and translucent. Spikes hardened into armor. But most disturbing was its gaze. It watched everything. Thalgren kept a constant eye on it. He had named it Kaziel, though the creature never spoke aloud. Instead, it communicated in pulses, emotions, concepts, memories not its own. He began to understand it had no single past, no birth of its own, but many. A hive of knowledge and instincts, bred across universes. It had come through the relic not from magic, but from science so advanced it mimicked arcane power. Kaziel was a xenomorph, though the word meant little to them. In the dreams it shared with Serenith, they saw cold steel corridors and dying stars. They saw engineers with blank white faces running in terror, machines that harvested planets, and black creatures born from everything they touched. Kaziel was one such creature, but altered, different. Serenith believed it had changed because it had gestated in her. The fire blood of a Dragoness had reshaped it, added strength, will, fire, even perhaps compassion. It was no longer fully what it was, but nor was it a dragon. Thalgren did not trust it. He wanted to banish it or destroy it, but Serenith had bonded with it in ways deeper than maternal instinct. She was convinced that it was their child. The elders arrived sooner than expected. Word had traveled. The mountain stirred with old magic when Kaziel was born, and the council had felt it. They descended like storm clouds, 6 dragons, massive and ancient, their eyes glowing with arcane judgment. They landed in the outer cavern, their voices already filled with condemnation before they entered. "What have you bred, Serenith?" one snarled. "It is not of our kind," hissed another. "It is mine," she growled, rising to her full height despite her weakened state. "You will not touch it. You risk the contamination of our bloodline," said Kurax, the oldest. "This thing is a hybrid. It belongs to a race of killers from beyond the veil." "It belongs to no one," Thalgren boomed, stepping between them and the inner chamber. "It has harmed none. It is watched and it is learning." Kaziel appeared then, stepping from the shadows with a grace that froze all movement. The elders growled in unison. One stepped forward to lunge. Kaziel moved faster. Its tail whipped forward not to kill, but to show restraint. It struck the ground in front of the aggressor, hissing low and calm. Not challenging but warning. Thalgren's heart thundered. The creature could have torn that elder's throat out in one blink. Chose not to. The council backed away. Kaziel returned to Serenith's side. "It has choice," she said quietly. "That is more than many of our kind can say." Months passed. The fire well dimmed with each passing week, drained by Kaziel's strange metabolism. But the cave had not fallen into death. Instead, life grew differently. Crystals formed from cooled plasma, stones reshaped into symbols. Strange flora began to bloom in the dark. Kaziel's presence altered the mountain, not poisoned it. Thalgren came to see the creature not as a parasite, but a bridge. It had the hunger and intellect of its alien origins, but the loyalty and fire-tempered discipline of dragonkind. It trained beside him, learned from him, even began to mimic some of his forms. Serenith called it their son, and in time, Thalgren did not object. But not all were content. One night, Kurax returned, cloaked in invisibility and fury. The elder had decided to end the threat alone. Serenith was asleep. Thalgren was hunting above ground. Kaziel was meditating, submerged in magma. Kurok struck from behind, plunging a spear of frozen light through Kaziel's chest. The scream was telepathic. It shattered stalactites. Serenith rose with a roar and dove into the lava pool, dragging her son's broken body out. Kuroks fled, injured and humiliated by her wrath. Thalgren returned too late. Kaziel was dying. But even in death it changed. Its black blood sizzled as it poured across the stone, soaking into the runes etched by its claws over the months. The mountain trembled. Kaziel's body erupted with light. Not flame, not magic, but something beyond both. A cocoon formed, made not of silk or shell, but hardened energy. The stone cracked around it. The well reignited, not red, but gold. For 10 days the cocoon pulsed. When it shattered, what emerged was no longer Kaziel as they knew him. He had grown larger, wings fully formed. Scales now covered his exoskeleton like armor. His tail still bore its signature blade, but his fire was real. Hotter than any dragon's, white-hot plasma that burned without smoke. He had become a synthesis of both worlds. And now he flew. Kaziel soared above the clouds, his shrieks echoing like songs across mountain ranges. Elders who had doubted came to see. Some still feared. Others saw potential. The war between the worlds of origin and instinct, of alien and fire, was no longer a threat. It had become a possibility. Kaziel became known as the first winged one. Not dragon. Not xenomorph. Something new. Thalgren stood at the cave's edge, watching his son disappear into the horizon, flames trailing behind him like banners of light. Serenith curled beside him, her voice soft. He is no longer just ours. No, Thalgren agreed. He is the future.